Welcome back to yet another bridge video. My name is Sarisha and I'm here to teach you something. Today we are going to be learning how to make oobleck. Maybe you've made it at summer camp, maybe you've made it at bridge, maybe you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but today we are going to be making oobleck, and in just a minute you are going to learn how to do that. But before we do that, as always, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff, you know the gist, you know the reasons, you know why, because I want to keep making these videos for you. Okay, but before we get into anything, we are going to be doing today's word of the day. Today's word of the day is contort. It's a verb. It means to twist or bend out of shape, out of any normal shape. People who are super bendy, who can do like back bends and like put their legs over their heads and just go into weird shapes, those are called contortionists. You can contort like Play-Doh into basically any shape that you want. Sometimes you will read the word in a book like, oh, so-and-so's face contorted with anger or pain, or you can also use it like someone contorted the truth. Those are all different ways that you can use the word of the day today, which is contort. With that, let's get into making some oobleck. Okay, like I said, we are going to make oobleck, which you maybe have made with us at Bridge before. We made them in little bags and played around with them, or you've made them at camp or at home. But here's just a little reminder of how to make oobleck. So what are you going to need? You're going to need cornstarch. You're going to need water. Those are the two basic ingredients. You are also, if you would like to, add a little bit of color, use some food coloring. This, if you've noticed, I like to reuse stuff, not have to buy a bunch of separate types of crafts. So this is food coloring that I actually got for the lava lamp video, which is the first, you can watch it here, it's the first video that we ever made at Bridge. And you also probably going to want something to stir. This is a chopstick, which is from either the Friendship Bracelet episode or the God's Eye episode, or video I should say, or just like a tongue depressor, which is also from the popsicle stick, which is from the God's Eye video. So you're also going to want to have something that you can use, that you can make it in. I'm going to just use a little Tupperware. You can also use a bowl, or like I said, you can use a bag, and something to measure. So what you're going to want to do, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 parts cornstarch to 1 part water. That means that if you want to do cups, you can do 2 cups of cornstarch to 1 cup of water, 1 cup of cornstarch to a half a cup of water, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 1 cup of cornstarch to half a cup of water. So this is a half a cup measuring. So I'm going to do 2 of these. And it was a little bit less than 2 of those, so I'm going to do a little bit less than a half a cup of water. And you can always add more water, and you can always add more cornstarch. And then I'm going to add a little bit of food coloring. I definitely am not going to add too much. I'm going to want to keep it a little light purple. And then I'm going to use my little stir and stir these ingredients together. I guess it's not really ingredients because you're not cooking anything, but these supplies together. And I think at this point I'm probably just going to use my hands, and you can begin to see why oobleck is so fun. So it's a non-Newtonian liquid, which means that it's both a liquid and a solid when you make the ratio right. So when you hit it, it'll feel solid, but then when you have it in your hand, it'll be liquid. So this is a little bit too liquidy. So I'm gonna add a little bit more cornstarch to my mixture. When the cornstarch hits the water, it starts to solidify, which is really cool. And you can get like clumps like this. Yeah, cool. So when it's in the container, you can see it's like sloshing around, moving around, it's on my hand, but then I can actually just pick it up in clumps and then it starts to liquefy. So, but when I try to push it, it's a solid. Very messy craft, which is also why keeping it in a Tupperware. And if you put too much food coloring, it will dye your fingers a little bit, so it's also like you don't want to put too much food coloring. This container for a little while. The water might evaporate, and so I might have to add some more water. But yeah, that's how you can make a really cool de-stress, just kind of fun science experiment. And you can see what happens if you add more water or if you add more cornstarch. You can just kind of play around with it. But remember, the basic ratio is a 2-to-1 ratio.
So I've actually left this out for a couple days. It wasn't covered, and you can see that it kind of looks liquidy on top, but then when I try to put my stick in it, it's really hard. But then when I take it out, it kind of comes back together and looks like a liquid. So you can kind of play around with the ratio and see what happens, what kind of structure the oobleck actually takes.
Well, that was a pretty fun little craft that we made together today. As always, thank you for joining. And if you have any ideas or you want me to make anything, leave it down in the comments below. And until next time, make sure that you wash your hands, clean up after yourself, and take a sip of water. Bye.